Too low. There you go. Adolescents, they have freedoms, and they want you to argue about your rights and your freedoms all the time. All you end up doing, sounding like, is either an infant or a teenager. What's that cop in there arguing about? His duty. His duty to enforce his statute. He wins every time. Duties always trump rights. Duties, actually, they're the seed from which the rights are the fruit that they grow from. So I told this guy, go in there and don't argue about your rights, argue about that you were engaging, you were fulfilling your duty. Well, what's my duty? Your duty is to ensure that this right still exists for future generations, and therefore you are fulfilling your duty by exercising your right. He went into court, he told the judge that. He said when he told the judge that, got a big smile from the judge started liking him, and the prosecutor hung her head. He ended up winning, and the judge ended up finding for him, and they didn't say, yes, you have a right, but no, you're not guilty of this offense because you have a color of right, and it's apparent to me that you do truly believe that what you're doing is proper and for good reason. And it's not then the issue isn't about whether or not you have that right, but whether or not you think you have that right. And there's a very big difference. These are the things you got to do. You have to use your heart, accept responsibility for your reality, and then accept that it is the fulfillment of your duties that's going to generate the reality that you seek. And I know a lot of it, if you've never heard this, it sounds amazing. Eh? You're thinking to yourself, it can't be that easy, it couldn't be that easy. But their deception is to take which is easy and make it seem very complicated, very difficult. And that's how they get you running around in the forest of deception looking for a little garden of truth. If you do not claim your right to something, you might have that right, or it might be potentially available, but it's not actually available to you, and they will come down on you. We've had a lot of wins along these lines. We had one guy, remittances. If you check out your income tax form, at the bottom they always send you a remittance, and they say detach this portion, send it back with your payment. What they want you to do is take this remittance and send them a check for the value of the remittance. But if you look up the definition of the word remittance, you know what you find? A specie of money sent by one party to another, from one merchant to another. That's why they want that original back. That original is a security interest. It has value. It has the value that they put on it. It might be worth $17,000, whatever. But what they want you to do is send back this remittance and a check. And now what you're doing is you're not sending them $17,000. You're sending them $34,000. Is it 34? Yeah. $34,000, and you're paying them $17,000 to administer this security for you because you haven't done it yourself. I told this to one guy. He got a remittance for $17,000. He went and he deposited it into the bank through the electronic teller. He did that on a weekend, and he got his receipt for it. Went back in on Monday and said, "Where's the 17 grand in my account?" You can't do that. He didn't put money. He pulled up the dictionary. He had all his ducks in a row. He showed them, "No, look, they sent me a remittance. Remittance is money. You're a bank. This is the Bank Act. I deposited. Here's my evidence. Give me my $17,000 right now." They ended up saying, "Well, we're going to call the cops." "Go ahead and do it. I'm not doing any fraud. You are." They ended up calling the cops. Cops came in, looked at it. "No, we're not touching this." And they specifically asked him, did he have a claim of right in play? And he told them he had it. The bank paid him $17,000. They ended up honoring this. No one can create a liability upon you without having remedy available as well. If a judge gives you an order, or go to a restaurant, order a steak, and see what happens if you refuse the bill. You're going to get arrested. It's fraud. Every order creates a liability. Liabilities must generate remedy. That remedy is your bill. If you're in court and the judge says, "I'm giving you an order," in England this happened where a guy was facing charges for, I think it was municipal taxes or something along those lines, and he's in front of 3 judges. He's trying to play the game. And they ended up giving him an order. He said, "Is that an order?" "Yes, it is." "Okay, fine, you're now liable for a bill." They perked right up at that. "Get out, just get out. We want you out of here right now. Well, you'll be charged with contempt of court." He ended up leaving court, Nothing on the books about this. No order has ever been placed upon him. Robert Bernard here, your Woodshed News correspondent. According to notices and claims published by the Freeman Society of Canada in the Canada Gazette, Canada will soon be getting a new national force of peace officers. Called the Canada Common Corps of Peace Officers, this new highly trained force will be empowered as peace officers only and not as policy enforcement officers. Drawing members from all walks of life, these armed peace officers will be empowered to investigate, arrest, and charge anyone found breaking the Criminal Code of Canada. Concentrating on existing police officers, judges, politicians, and lawyers, this new force, affectionately called C3PO, will hopefully help put an end to the rampant negligence and intimidation to which Canadians are being subjected. By being better educated in the law, these new peace officers will be able and willing to distinguish between a person and an individual, a statute and the law, a geographical area and a corporation with a similar sounding name, de facto and de jure, and thus will not be as likely to act with ignorance towards the Bill of Rights and the Criminal Code of Canada, while claiming the right to enforce laws which are in fact merely corporate policies restricted in their applicability. According to a spokesman for the Freeman Society of Canada, the days of freemen being seized and detained by ignorant policy enforcement officers is over, as we will be in a position to arrest and charge those who, due to their own ignorance and by color of law, interfere with our enjoyment of our lawfully claimed rights. Routine traffic stops may in fact be our undercover operatives investigating existing policy enforcement revenue collectors who think that all automobiles are motor vehicles and all individuals are persons, or use fraud, extortion, intimidation, or other criminal acts in the application of corporate policies. The Association of Canadian Police Chiefs had no comment. This has been a Woodshed News breaking report.
Mix. I'm Irish and I'm French and I'm Scottish. That means when I'm sober enough to make love, there's no way I'm going to pay for it. Tell you a little bit more about myself. What can I tell you? I don't want to be too personal. I have hemorrhoids. That's not the funny part. Hemorrhoids come in two varieties too, eh? They're like belly buttons, because they come in two varieties, innies and outies. I have the outies. I'm happy about that because they're a lot easier to scratch in a crowded elevator. I went to a doctor for this problem. Did you know there are doctors who will study this? They go to medical school for years just to work on the bum. I couldn't believe that. I went to this doctor, a proctologist. Wouldn't you know it? He only had one arm. A one-arm proctologist. He did a half-assed job. That'd be pretty weird, eh? A one-arm proctologist. Imagine going to like a support group for amputees. Stand up, tell us your name, your occupation, and how you lost your arm. Yeah, you first. Yeah, I'm Hank. I'm a farmer. There was this horrible combine accident. I lost my arm, but I saved that calf. Good for you. Next. I am Joe. I'm a fireman. Burning beam fell on my arm. I lost my arm, but I saved that baby. Good for you. Next. I am Herbert. I'm a proctologist. Stop right there, Herbert. Herbert would be like, but I saved the Rolex. Yeah, it's weird. Medical, and remember a few years back, all the doctors, what were they scaring you with? SARS. Remember that? What's it in French? SARS. In English, I looked it up. You know what it stands for? Severe acute